evenings ago, I asked the Imam to pray for both Israel and Palestine. He agreed. Please join the Imam and pray for Israel and Palestine. In 2047, as the President of the United States, I will bring peace to the Middle East because I love both Israel and Palestine. In response to the Arab loss of the Six-Day War, the Arab countries provided 3 no's. No negotiations with Israel, no recognition of the Israeli state, and no peace there until the Israelis are wiped off the face of the earth. Egypt didn't trust the Jews in its country, and so they started suppressing the Jews. In response to this, Israel started to prepare to attack Egypt. And then Israel did a preliminary strike against Egypt. After that, the Yom Kippur War scared Israel off its feet. But with U.S. support, it was actually able to capture the Sinai and win. You don't see that much in wars, do you? The one who's caught off guard usually loses, but this time he won. Israel wanted peace in the region. They negotiated with Egypt. If the Sinai was given back to Egypt, would they have peace? And Egypt said yes. Then Oslo Peace Accord, which obviously hasn't worked out yet because peace is in the name, which hasn't really been achieved yet. Oslo Peace Accord was meant to get Israel and Palestine to agree. Palestine would accept Israel as a sovereign state, and Israel would accept Palestine as its own independent, autonomous, sovereign state. But this obviously didn't work out, and in 2005 to now, 2 military groups have been trying to get power in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, Hamas and Fatah. So far it looks like Hamas is winning, but who knows? It's so chaotic out there that even I can't predict. So, now, what sparked this up again recently? Well, on May 6th, as you know, protesters in Jerusalem, Palestinian protesters specifically, started protesting at Jerusalem. Soon, this protest escalated into a violent fight between Jews and the Palestinians. In response to this brawl, Hamas tried to launch a bunch of missiles into Israel. Most of them failed or fell short because of the giant iron dome of Israel. Some hit, and they killed 7 people, including 1 child. Now, Israel also launched 1 bombing raid onto Palestine, which already killed 122 people because Palestine doesn't have a defense force, including 31 children, 31 people under 18. You can really see the brawn of all this violence. And in the wake, how can we achieve a solution that everybody can agree on? Because the buts and ifs and ins and outs of politics won't work in the way that is most favorable to mankind. And we cannot just sit there as Hamas hopelessly fires missiles into the Iron Dome and let the fate of the Palestinian people be undecided. By running for president in 2047, I will bring peace to the Middle East, and I will quell this brawl between Israel and Palestine, because I love both countries, Israel and Palestine. Palestine, who's going to help you in the event that you don't accept Israel and Israel invades you? What is tiny Jordan going to do? Bahrain and Qatar are like pieces of crap. So is the UAE. Bahrain is so freaking small you can't even see its actual shape on the map. It has to be represented by a damn circle. Not even the Gambia is that small. Syria has its own agenda. It has its own civil war to fight. Yemen and Oman are also pieces of crap. Too far away, too small, influenced by Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is an ally of the US. So that's also a dead end for you because they are going to be supporting Israel. Egypt won't help you either. Egypt has their own agenda with the pyramids. And Turkey doesn't remind me of support and a strength. It reminds me of delicious Thanksgiving chicken. Never mind. Let's just move on. Turkey is not going to rebuild the Ottoman Empire for you. So you should accept Israel's offers for peace. Just recognize Israel. Israel, you have so much power in that situation. Use it for good. Use it for world peace. Now, I want to tell something to both Israel and Palestine. To Israel, if I go to a Gaza apartment and I draw the Star of David and recite the Torah, will you still bomb that apartment building? If I go to East Jerusalem and I draw a picture of the Palestinian flag and recite the Quran, Hamas, will you still try and bomb my apartment building? I'll leave that question up to you. Brothers in Palestine, you should pray for Israel. And to my friends in Israel, you should pray for Palestine. Because my heart shatters and bleeds whenever I think of the Holocaust. It's just so heartbreaking. To my brothers in Palestine, let me remind you what happened yesterday on Eid al-Fitr. I asked the Imam at the mosque, please pray for Israel. And so you should too. Go to your local mosque and ask the Imam, pray for Israel. Why? Because when I think of the Holocaust, and you should think of it too, you will see 6 million innocent Jews, women and children, dying. And it's really just heartbreaking. It makes my heart bleed. I'm on the verge of tears, seriously right now. I'm sorry. And tell my friends in Israel, have you seen what the Palestinians have gone through? Their death toll is far worse than yours. Allow them to have peace. You shouldn't crush an ant just like that. And to my friends in Israel, please pray for Palestine like I prayed for you. Thank you.